Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Thank you for being around. 7 minutes after 5 o'clock. We're halfway home on this Friday edition, December 5. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. And despite what some of you might think, based on my prior commentary earlier today, I don't hate Christmas. I don't hate Christmas and the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. Anyway, so no, I don't hate everything about Christmas. I just don't like a lot of Christmas music. And I'm not afraid to say so. And I never cared for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And so there it is. Yeah, not so much. You know what this music makes me think of? The mall. Doesn't that make you think of the mall?
Yeah.
Makes me think of the mall.
Sounds like a mall.
Boy, I hated the mall.
You didn't like the mall?
Oh, I always hated the mall. Well, I'll tell you what, Ken. There was a between the age of 15 and maybe 18.
Yeah.
I dug the mall.
Right.
We would go, you know what we do at the mall?
Chase girls.
Hang out and chase girls.
Yes.
Back then it was called Ye Old Gathering of Shops.
And it was spelled PPES.
That's right. Yeah, we pronounce that, Jackson, that's pronounced shoppy. Thank you. Jackson, you ever had a delicious beverage at an Orange Julius?
Ooh.
I have.
That's good
I
stuff,
love an
boy.
Orange Julius.
I remember, I'm old enough to remember when the way that you got Chick-fil-A was go to the mall.
Yeah.
Really? The Chick-fil-A's were on, I mean, I don't remember Chick-fil-A's being outside of the mall, but they were in the mall, man, right across the street from the Orange Julius and the great big fat cookie company or what it was called.
Oh, the Great American Cookie Company.
Oh, man. I'm a little hungry. Now I'm turning around on the whole mall subject. I'm kind of wanting a mall now.
Where is the nearest Orange Julius?
I don't know.
Let's look it up.
Well, we're going to look that up.
I bet there's one at Opry Mills.
Y'all look that up while I figure out what's going on in John Rose's world. Congressman John Rose joins us on this Friday edition of the show, and it's always good to talk to the good congressman. Hey, John, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Matt. Thanks for having me on the show tonight.
Oh, it's fabulous. You haven't been in the mall. You haven't been to a mall lately, have you? I haven't been to a mall in a month of Sundays.
I have been to a mall recently. I'm trying to think where it was, though. I can't remember, but I was in one here fairly recently.
Well, I shouldn't have assumed things because, John, I have to remember you've got young children, and you do wild things with young kids. Like, I don't know, go to the mall.
That's right. I was at Opry Mills, actually. That's where I was.
There you
I
go.
took my kids to the movie. We went to see Zootopia 2.
Well, John, while we're on the subject, do you have a review for Zootopia 2? Is it worthy of our time and money?
It was funny. It was pretty entertaining, I would say.
Okay. All right. Well, good enough. Well, John, I mean, obviously lots going on. You've got a new colleague from the state of Tennessee since we last spoke. I know you were obviously supportive of Matt Van Epps in the general special election in Tennessee's 7th congressional district. Have you had an opportunity to speak with Matt Van Epps since his election?
I have. In fact, I got to be there yesterday morning for his swearing in, and then met with his family and friends from back here in Tennessee in the aftermath of his swearing in on the rotunda of the Capitol, and just very tickled to have Matt there. And I think he's going to be a great addition to the team. I think he's demonstrated this with his past service to this country, that he's a team player. And I think he's going to do a great job for the people of the 7th District of Tennessee and for this country.
John, do you share the concerns with some others? I'm not as concerned as some are. I mean, I understand that the margins were closer than we would want them to be. I also understand that Trump is going to drive the needle. And I don't believe that when they recreated, and you're intimately familiar with this, right? When they redrew 5, 6, and 7, they did so for the purpose of drawing 5 in a way that's more consistent with the values of Middle Tennessee. And you took 2 Republican districts and 1 Democrat district and created 3 Republican districts as a result. And that naturally is going to lower those plus margins for the Republican Party in these districts. All of that to say, there are some that are suggesting that this is some sort of bell cow for what is to come in 2026. I don't believe that. I understand that we want the margins a little bit better than they were, but what's your take on that from a political stance?
Well, Matt, I think you're exactly right. I'm right where you are. I think we should be very proud of the win. It was a special election. We're the party in power. It's hard to motivate your base when you're in control, and they know that. And there's a tendency for folks to believe, all is well. There's no need for us to go out to vote. And so I think it was a very respectable win. It's an R+10 district. Matt Van Epps won by almost 10 points. You have to remember that, the comparison that he's up against is Donald Trump running against maybe the most ill-qualified and unpopular Democrat nominee for president in modern history. And so you've got that to keep in mind. And Mark Green, who was a proven candidate at that point and, running for reelection in a race where he didn't face a tough opponent. And so I think those things you look at, and then you've got to also remember, if you look at the current 7th district and you think about the counties that are in it, the territory that is in that district, and you go back to 2018, the last Trump kind of midterm election, Senator Marsha Blackburn gets elected. She wins by that district by 0.5 percentage point. And so, when you look at all of those things together, Matt Van Epps, a first-time candidate for public office, winning by almost 10 points, I think it's a pretty doggone respectable outcome.
What, if anything, can be accomplished before we really get into the election cycle of 2026? Are you hopeful that we can get some real substantial things done? I mean, obviously, we're thinking appropriations measures. We clearly have to get 9 of those further appropriations bills through the Congress of the United States. I'm hopeful that we can see some real movement because I'll tell you, John, the question I get more than any other, and I understand the margins and I understand the difficulty of navigating some of those margins that are razor thin, particularly in the House of Representatives and the 60-vote threshold in the Senate. But even with that, people want to know what's taking so long to get back to regular order and to start spending less and saving more as a federal government. What can we get accomplished?
Well, I think we can get a lot. I think Republicans need to be very, very precise in communicating, and I think we should we should stick with what worked and what we've been working on. And so the economy, getting the national debt under control, and immigration reform, things that are bread and butter issues for us. Now, the thing is, we've got to point out to the American people the successes that we've had. So I know it's easy to get, hopeful that we'll do even more, even faster. But we got to remember that, a year ago, immigration was the number one problem. Well, the president has largely solved that, at least in the current term. And there's still work to be done there. But, 6 months and we've had zero catch and releases into the country, and compare that to where we were for the previous 4 years. On the economy, consider that we had runaway inflation during 4 years of the Biden administration that was caused by profligate spending and Biden administration policies. I just bought gas for $2.23 a gallon today. And so, think about that. Gas is now under $3 a gallon nationwide. Hasn't been this cheap since Trump was in office the first time. And you start to think about the money that puts into Tennesseans' pockets when they save that much money, when they fill up their tank, starts to make them feel pretty good. And then you see eggs down 50% year to date, the Thanksgiving Day turkey down 16% from a year ago. So it takes time to reverse the bad policies of the past, but I think we're making great progress. And, there are things that we still need to get done. You're right. We need to prove that we can fund the government through a regular, orderly process, and we've made progress there. We do also have to remember that something that was once thought impossible has happened, and that is, to the extent that anyone can win a shutdown, House Republicans just won a shutdown. We stood our ground. The Democrats got nothing. They hurt the American people for 43 days, and Republicans came out on top of that. We didn't concede anything of importance, and so we got to keep all that in mind. The House has actually been producing one of the most productive House agendas in recent history, maybe competing with the country nationally historically, and so a lot to be happy for. And we did that with a razor-thin majority, and I think a speaker that has managed to navigate this with the help of the president. And so the president's vision for restoring this country, I think we've moved fantastically forward and at a speed that I think few people could have imagined. So I think there's much to be happy for. Obviously, our prospects in 2026 are going to be ultimately determined by how the American people feel. Do they feel prosperous? Do they feel like it's working? And so part of that is just, the results of the policies that the president and Congress have put into place. And part of that's how good a job we do messaging that to the American people.
Congressman John Rose is our guest, talking about the United States Congress, recent events, future events in early 2026 after the holiday break. And obviously, John is also running for governor of the state of Tennessee in 2026. And John, I want to ask you, you rightly noted, and you were given kudos for noting that the Senate slipped in a provision involving this Arctic frost surveillance program that would allow for certain senators to sue the government for, I think, up to $500,000. And you pointed out that felt weird. And I'm not putting words in your mouth, but that's just my characterization of what you said, right? That's just odd that they would slip that provision in there. And I feel like you were successful in eliminating that provision. And I don't believe we're moving forward with that now. I mean, do you feel like your point was made that it was odd that, I do believe that the senators ought to have some level of justice when it comes to their surveillance that was done against them, but it felt weird that the taxpayer citizen should foot the bill for this.
Well, absolutely. And that fight is, sadly, it's not yet over. We were faced with a real dilemma when we got this from the Senate. Of course, they sent this over with no warning and just slipped it in there, didn't even tell the speaker, didn't tell the staff. And so, this was, a really bad move by the Senate to put this kind of what I would call a crooked pay provision for senators in the continuing resolution that would reopen the government. So we were faced with this dilemma. Do you end the 43-day shutdown? Do you end the Democrat Schumer imposed suffering on the American people? Or do you stop it because there is this crooked pay provision that's been put in there for 8 United States senators who feel aggrieved by what happened at the Justice Department? Now, I will be the first to say, and I've joined in the efforts to call on Attorney General Bondi and the Justice Department to investigate the Biden Justice Department for weaponizing our justice system. And we certainly should be looking for ways to provide deterrence for that going forward. But socking the taxpayer of Tennessee by letting these senators pocket millions of dollars, and you said $500,000, the reality is it would have been millions per senator. It still could be, because that's still the law of the land. This came up, the House passed a bill, and I helped to sponsor that bill to revoke this, to reverse this. We passed it on a roll call vote unanimously. Even Thomas Massey voted for that bill. Every Democrat, every Republican voted to reverse this in the House. It goes over to the Senate, and Senator Lindsey Graham objects to it, and so stopped it cold in its tracks. So this is still the law of the land today, and it's a real miscarriage of justice. Now, we do need to do something. We need to provide a deterrent for this kind of bad behavior, but this bill did not do that, and it's sad because it was carefully crafted. This wasn't something that someone just thought of at the last second and threw in there. This was 10, 15, 20 pages of very carefully crafted legislation intended to give them exactly this kind of remedy, and punishing the American taxpayers for a rogue Justice Department does not make any sense, and it doesn't provide a deterrent for the future. It literally is just a payday for a handful of select senators.
Well,
I've got to get that done, and I call on my Senate colleagues here in Tennessee, the senators from Tennessee. They can't just say we'll vote for it if it comes up. They should be taking the lead and demanding that it be overturned.
Well, and I think that there are plenty of senators that are heeding that call, and hopefully Marsha and Bill will be two of them. Marsha Blackburn, obviously, Senator Blackburn, and Bill Hagerty. I want to follow up in this way. So my biggest concern, I'm willing to debate what the punishment should be and what the investigation should be. I don't know that there needed to be any monetary recompense to the United States senators that were involved in this, but there needs to be disinfectant through truth and light on the matter. But what I was most concerned about, John, was the manner in which it got slipped in to a funding mechanism. I was equally concerned with the hemp legislation that was slipped into this funding mechanism that would change the legal definition of hemp and effectively ban a lot of products that are currently being produced and enjoyed legally by the citizens of the state of Tennessee. Do you share my concern? I understand that we might disagree on the issue of hemp, but do you share my concern that they slipped this into a funding bill in a way that seemed to be sneaky and in the cover of darkness in a way that prevented free and open debate on the matter?
Well, I'm not probably as concerned as you are, because we had debated this provision in the House Agriculture Committee and passed it out of the Ag Committee on a bipartisan basis more than a year ago, and there had been open debate about it on the Senate side too. So this, unlike the Senate provision, and it wasn't hidden, it wasn't a secret. There was, yes, I think where you're right is putting it in must-pass legislation. That's always, I think, a source of frustration for all of us. And, I'm always hesitant to say that the founders messed something up in the Constitution, but not having a germaneness provision for laws that pass through Congress, I think, is probably something that could be improved in the Constitution, because we see this all the time where you have something like the reopening of the government that's used as a means of passing something that would be tougher to pass and more visible to the public if it had to stand on its own. And so I think that's always something to be concerned about. But there is a very big difference between the crooked pay provision, poison pill, and the hemp provision, because the hemp provision had been debated and had passed through committee, at least on the House side. I'm not as familiar where they were on the Senate side, and it was attached to some of the agriculture farm bill legislation that needed to be extended. So it wasn't just put in singularly by itself. It was part of the extension of the farm bill to end of this next fiscal year.
I mean,
there are some distinctions there.
I mean, does it concern you, and maybe this is a good conversation for you and I to have at some future time, to really go over the subject, because I'm curious to get more on your position on it. But does it concern you that the industry claims that this will wipe out 95% of the businesses and cost 300,000 jobs, many of those jobs in the Southeast?
I think anytime Congress puts in place legislation that's disruptive to the economy and to the lives of people, that's a very serious question, and whether we want the federal government, killing off an industry. But there's obviously a lot of debate around this situation. Obviously, the industry grew up because of a loophole that was created in the 2018 Farm Bill, and I've studied this issue pretty carefully, and that was not what was intended with the legislation that came through as part of the Farm Bill in 2018, became law, and then allowed this industry to develop. And so I think there's room for debate and discussion about this. And again, I think you're right. When Congress is killing an industry, there should be a lot of thought and debate go into that. And so I agree with you. Not the best look, not the best thing to put it into must-pass legislation.
Right.
But that's where the extension of the Farm Bill was coming from, and that's what this was attached to.
Well, it's always a joy to get a chance to talk with you, John. Wish the family well during the holiday season. Obviously, we want you back in studio as quickly as possible. I know you're going to be very busy in 2026. Clearly, you're running for governor in 2026. You just announced that I think your war chest is well in excess of $6 million now. So you're well on your way to getting to every village and hamlet across the state of Tennessee and making your case for governor. And we look forward to the next conversation with you on the Matt Murphy Show.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me on. It's a great honor and privilege to serve the people of Tennessee.
Take care. There's John Rose joining us for a few good minutes. 26 minutes after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So the United States of America, we got soccer going on in the United States coming up next year or something like that?
2026, Brother Murphy.
2026. Ken Weaver, you're on top of this story. Who did America draw in their, what is it called, a pool?
It's called a pool or Group D.
Uh-huh.
It is Paraguay and Australia, and then in Europe, there's going to be a playoff to determine who the fourth team will be.
Uh-huh.
How they going to do, Ken?
Uh-huh.
What's that?
How they going to do, Ken?
The U.S.?
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
You know, that's what I like out of the news closet, B. I like accuracy when certain, and I like clarity when not. That's good stuff.
Nashville had their head coach.
The U.S. team?
Yeah, the U.S. national team.
What?
Yeah, the current coach of Nashville SC.
Used to be the national team?
I believe Brother Jackson is correct.
Well, I wouldn't know. I don't know anything about this stuff. I used to think that soccer was just a horrible communist sport. Now I'm softening on that, much like I'm softening on my certain other positions. You know, I softened on the position of pit bulls. We talked about that yesterday. I've become an old softy in my old
You're
age.
becoming an old softy, Brother Murphy.
I'm not 100% sure how long. I believe it was in an interim basis. Mm-hmm. But he was the head coach of the national team for a little bit.
We're better than we used to be, right? That's what everybody tells me.
I guess.
I don't know.
I always see people angry at him on Twitter. So
Look, I just I can't do. I mean, I don't knock it, whatever. I just wish John Ingram would let us have our racetrack and leave the damn racetrack alone and mind his own business at Geodis Park. That's what I think about soccer in Nashville. But I'll say this:
yes, sir.
I tried, and it's just. Man, they make me tired because, good Lord, they do a lot of running.
They do a whole bunch of running.
Just up and down and up and down and up and down and back and forth and back and forth.
If you're having a bunch, like if you're somewhere having a bunch of really good cold beers and some really good food and watching it, you know, I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, see, I'll pay. This is what I say about soccer. That soccer reminds me of how much I love my country, the United States of America. Because even as much as I hate soccer, if it's USA on the jersey, I'll watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I went to a international game. It was Mexico and South Korea.
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Was it a friendly?
I believe it was some sort of friendly.
Okay. I'm very excited because
awesome.
I know that term.
Went down to the wire. They ended in a tie, of course.
It's a friendly.
But Mexico scored with like a minute left, and it was exciting. It was fun.
Yeah, I mean, when they score, everybody's excited because they do it so rarely.
Well, yeah.
A 2-2 game, that was a shootout.
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome.
Looks like Spain, France, England, Brazil, and Argentina are the favorites to win the whole thing.
Yeah, the U.S. does not want any of the smoke from any of the countries he just listed.
Yeah, because they're really into soccer.
What is a success for us to get into the quarterfinals?
Get into the tournament.
Yeah, like I think, 16 teams, Brother Jackson?
Yeah, get into the tournament. Get out of group play.
Yeah, get out of
group play. If you win a game out of group play.
So if you're in your group, you play every team in your group, and then two teams out of the group. Is it two teams that come out of the group? That's 24 teams, though.
Yeah, there's 48 total teams.
I don't know.
And there's 4 teams in each group.
Okay.
You know what people don't want to hear?
This?
Yeah, let's go to Nincompoops in the news.
Nobody wants to hear this crap. I don't even want to hear it, and I'm talking about it. That's right. It's time for Nincompoops in the news. You know what the real news is. You've heard the headlines all day long from Ken Weaver over in the newsroom. You've heard Matt Murphy opine on said same. It's time for the Nincompoops.
Yes.
With Jackson Williams, Ken Weaver, and Matt Murphy. It's a Friday edition of Nincompoops in the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I hesitate to ask this, but who won yesterday?
Me.
Doesn't he always say that? You either say me or I don't know.
Brother Jackson always says me.
He does. It feels that way, doesn't it, Ken?
He's smart doing that.
If you ain't first, you're last.
What was your story yesterday, Jackson? Go.
Mine was the guy exposing himself to passing cars in Iowa.
Okay, I think you did win.
That's
That was a pretty good story. I think I voted for you, as a matter of fact.
I've got a good one today.
All right, well, hit it.
Happy birthday!
Oh.
Frosty the Snowman voice actor Jackie Vernon exposed by Son for having 3 secret families.
What?
A jolly, happy soul. Jackie Vernon, the voice actor behind the 1969 holiday classic Frosty the Snowman, reportedly had multiple families before settling down with his wife until he died, Hazel. David Vernon, one of the couple's 3 kids, revealed the surprising news while remembering his late dad during the Nostalgia Tonight with Joe Sabila radio show on November 30th.
Oh, by the way, my dad had 2 other wives.
3.
Oh, yeah, 3.
3 secret families plus the 4th. So he had 4 families.
Wow.
What? No.
According
How
to
the
David,
hell do you... 4 families?
maybe more. According to David, he learned that his famous father had at least 3 secret families when an unknown woman and her son showed up at the Vernon home before Jackie's death at 63 in November of 1987. He says there was a woman there with a kid who was older than I was. He was probably in his late teens, a little rough around the edges looking. The woman asked to speak to my dad, and I said, my dad's on the road, and he's not home, he continued. Then I remember she was very firm. She was like,
Happy birthday!
well,
Go ahead, please.
Well, then I want to speak to your mother. After Hazel came to the door, the woman dropped the bombshell revelation regarding Jackie's other marriages and families. So my mom came, and I guess she assessed what the situation was right away. But my mom told me to go upstairs, and she talked to her. I heard a somewhat heated conversation going on, and then a couple of minutes later, they left. So I had to know. I asked my mom, who was that? And it finally came out that before our family, my dad had been married at least 3 other times, which I was kind of shocked to find out, he admitted.
What? He had been married 3 other times?
Yes.
Well...
That was not the only surprise for David. It came out that his father had several other sons before his marriage to Hazel, and they all shared the same name.
Well, like the same first name?
Yeah, David. From these marriages, he had sons, and he named them all Ralph after him. Oh, they were all named Ralph. He named them all Ralph.
Ralph, as in puke.
After himself, after his original name, Ralph Verone, David said. But he abandoned all these families and moved on. My mom wasn't even sure if he divorced one of the women or if he was married to another one, but when my parents were married, they had a deal.
They had a deal.
The deal, David explained, was that Hazel would name the boys and Jackie could name the girls. She kind of had gotten this idea that Ralph was an unloved kid, a kid that was left behind, and she wanted to make sure that I was never going to be a Ralph. David said that was when I realized that my mom had this plan that he stayed with our family and didn't abandon us. Elsewhere during his interview, David opened up about his dad's demons with depression and addiction.
Huh.
Wow.
So
he
how
just
about
took his
that?
corncob pipe and his button nose and skipped town on his 3 other families.
Yeah. Hold on, wait for it.
Happy birthday!
Son, I haven't seen you in 17 years.
I mean, good gracious.
Frosty the Snowman was a fairy deadbeat dad.
Man, that's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot going on.
Why have we...
It's a lot.
Was this just recently he opened up about this, Brother Jackson?
November 30th, so this would have been over the weekend, Brother Weaver.
Well, I'll be.
An old boy's dead, obviously.
Oh, yeah, he died in 87.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Wow.
You know.
Oh, he took a lot of Quaaludes in the 70s.
He did a lot with those snowballs.
He stole the guy's magic hat, too.
Ken, you got a nincompoop over there?
Yes.
Okay.
2 Santas furiously brawl in supermarket as horrified shoppers watch Christmas cake.
Why are you giggling? You hit his funny bone, Weaver. You got him.
I just picture, so we were talking earlier, Matt, about this. I told you my favorite sitcom of all time, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes.
I just pictured a scene from the first season where there's a Santa Claus who's being arrested, and one of the characters has to punch him in the face because he's fighting them. And he goes, that didn't feel right.
What, punching Santa in the face?
In front of like a bunch of children.
I'm picturing the scene from Elf. You're not Santa.
You sit on a throne of
You
lies.
smell like meat and cheese.
Yeah, and in what is it, Fred Claus, where all the Santas on the corner get mad at him because he's coming up with a fake charity and just pocketing the money. And they all chase him into a department store.
I love it. And, oh, by the way, that might be a little bit of a hat tip as to what movie you're going to get later on, Jackson.
Yeah.
Maybe so. So was that it? The Santa Claus were brawling?
Yeah, two Santas got into a furious fight in a supermarket, with one pushing away security guards before both were eventually separated. Two Father Christmas figures became embroiled in that altercation inside a Baku, Azerbaijan supermarket. The festive duo engaged in pushing and shoving during an unseemly scrap near the fruit section. Both were attired in the Russian Father Christmas tradition called Ded Moroz, or Grandfather Frost, sporting characteristic white whiskers, with one clad in red resembling Western Santa, whilst the other wore white, though both donned more ornate robes. Horrified customers witnessed the Santa scuffle at the megastore supermarket, seemingly disputing over Christmas season territory for delivering joy to youngsters. So apparently one Santa got too close to the other and was rubbing in on his business.
Yeah, you can't get in on his territory.
Fruit was sent flying alongside a small festive tree during the tussle. A security guard attempted to step in, but the crimson-clad Santas furiously shoved him aside. One Father Christmas tumbled to the ground before rejoining the fracas.
What do you tell your kids?
Yeah.
What do you tell the kids?
Mama, I didn't know there were two Santa Clauses.
Well, one of those is not a real Santa. Which one's the real Santa? The one that wins.
Yeah, the one who wins.
Yeah.
All right, so these two hefty security guards, apparently dressed in black. I like the way this reporter's describing what everybody's wearing. Parted the feuding duo. And then a mum, as it is written, hurried off to shield her youngster from witnessing the Santa clash.
Well, good for you, Mom.
Officers questioned the Santas regarding the disagreement, and apparently were told not to ever do that again.
Well, I suppose so. Santa Clauses, y'all play nice. Santa Clauses, y'all play nice. All right, well, mine's short, sweet, and to the point. It is from Laredo, Texas. An incident on November 4th led Laredo law enforcement officers to be dispatched in the 3200 block of Zacatecas Street following a report of a male individual who had made multiple telephone calls to 911 to the emergency line within a single hour. The individual was identified as a 45-year-old male by the name of Ignacio Marquez Acosta, who presented, wait for it now, signs of intoxication upon the officer's arrival. The initial inquiry into the matter revealed that Ignacio Marquez Acosta had repeatedly dialed 911 with the intention of securing transportation to his girlfriend's house. He was consequently taken. They gave him transportation, but not to his girlfriend's house. He was transported to jail because you cannot do that. He was facing charges of making abusive calls to 911. He called 911 on at least 5 and maybe more occasions within the hour, demanding that they pick him up and take him to his girlfriend's place. And you cannot do that. Short, simple, and to the point. Mr. Ignacio Marquez Acosta is my nincompoop in the news. And mine was not holiday themed. I did not realize that we had a theme going, gentlemen. But now, for next week, I will know. That's how we play Nincompoops in the news. You could vote for me, although I don't know that I could beat...
Can't beat
Santa's whipping up on one another.
Well, that and Frosty having a whole bunch of concubines.
Yeah, snowballs over there.
Sugar plums dancing in his head.
Frosty the snowman.
Frosty the deadbeat goes out for a pack of smokes, and then you see him on TV.
Yeah, with his little Frosty kids, all of them named Ralph. He named all of his kids Ralph. Who the hell names their kids Ralph?
Well, you keep leaving them behind, His name was Ralph.
I mean, no, all present company excluded, but if your name is Ralph, your parents didn't love you very much. It's 52 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Vote early, vote often. Here comes Santa Claus, baby. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Do I have time to go to line one? Should I do that real quick? We got another hour to go on the Matt Murphy Show. We'll have fun during that hour. We'll also bring you some news and information and hopefully get you off to your weekend in the proper fashion. Aaron is next up. Hello, Aaron. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. What's on your mind?
Excellent. Well, I just wanted to call. Y'all made a comment a while ago when you were doing the Nincompoops in the news, which happens to be one of our favorite segments, by the way. You were talking about how if your parents name you Ralph, they must not love you. Guys, I'm a mama of a middle schooler named Ralph who loves watching your show.
I knew this would happen. I knew this would. See, sometimes my mouth fires off before my brain.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, when we went to name him, my husband chose his name. He's named after his great-grandfather, who was a wonderful man. Absolutely loved him. So he wanted to name him that, and I said, well, hold on, wait a second. Let's make sure your grandfather actually liked his name first. So we called to talk to him, and he started crying, and I was like, oh, man, can't go back on it now. But he's a Ralph, you know. Ralph means wise counsel, and he listens more than he talks, and, you know, he's got two sisters, and he definitely gives them his opinion on things. But how old is
your son?
He's 12.
12. Do y'all call him Ralph?
We do, Ralph or Ralphie.
Ralphie. That's pretty good, too.
Yeah, still trying to get a pink bunny suit for him.
Oh, you can find them. They're online. I've seen them. And a Red Ryder BB gun with a compass in the stock and that thing that tells time.
Yeah, but he might put his eye out.
He might put his eye out, though, Aaron. You got to worry about that now.
I'm more worried about my eyes.
Well, fair enough. Aaron, I rescind the comment, and I apologize for any offense.
Oh, thank you. That is super sweet. I just thought, you know, he loves listening to y'all. So,
well, tell Ralphie I meant everybody but him, okay?
Excellent.
He's all good.
Y'all have a great night.
He's solid. You do too. Thank you, Aaron. Whew. Thank goodness she was nice about all that.